The morning sun of Kepler Prime cast long shadows across the massive academy grounds. Marcus Chun stood at the edge of the landing platform, his small travel bag clutched in his sweaty hands. Before him stretched the most famous military school in the galaxy. The Galactic Military Academy looked like a small city made of crystal and metal. Towers reached toward the purple sky, and strange vehicles floated between the buildings like metal insects. Marcus had dreamed of this moment for 3 years. Ever since the aliens first made contact with Earth, he knew he wanted to be here. But now that he was actually standing on an alien world, surrounded by creatures he had only seen in videos, his courage was starting to fade. A group of cadets walked past him. One looked like a walking tree made of blue crystal. Another floated in the air, its body made of pure energy that shifted colors like an oil spill. The third had 6 arms and skin that looked like polished metal. They were talking in clicks and whistles that his universal translator turned into words. Another primitive species joining the academy, the crystal being said. I wonder how long this one will last. The last newcomer quit after 2 weeks, replied the floating energy creature. These young species never understand what they are getting into. Marcus pretended not to hear them. He had expected this kind of reaction. Humans were the newest species to join the Galactic Union. Everyone else had been part of it for hundreds or thousands of years. To them, humans were like children trying to play with adults. The academy gates opened with a sound like singing. Crystal. Marcus walked through, following the stream of other new cadets. Most were species he had never seen before. Some walked on legs like him. Others slithered, floated, or moved in ways that hurt his brain to watch. Inside the main building, the walls were covered with pictures and statues of famous graduates. Marcus stopped in front of a large display that showed the Academy's history. For 300 years, only the best and strongest species had graduated from this place. The Zephyrians, who could read minds and think as one giant brain. The Crystallans, who never made mistakes and could solve any math problem in seconds. The Vorthek, who could bend reality with their thoughts and make energy do whatever they wanted. Impressive, is it not? Marcus turned to see a tall, thin creature standing beside him. It had gray skin, 4 arms, and eyes like black diamonds. When it spoke, Marcus felt the words form directly in his mind rather than hearing them with his ears. I am Instructor Veltar, the creature continued. I have been teaching here for 60 Earth years. You are the human, correct? Yes, sir, Marcus replied. Marcus Chun from Earth. Fascinating, Veltar said, walking slowly around Marcus like he was studying a new type of machine. Your species is ... unusual. Most new species that join the academy have some special ability. The ability to fly, to read minds, to see through time, to control matter. But humans ... He paused. Humans seem to be good at many things but great at nothing. Marcus felt his face grow hot. We may not have special powers, but we work hard. Work hard, Veltar repeated, and Marcus thought he heard amusement in the alien's mental voice. Yes, we have heard this about humans. You have an interesting relationship with impossible tasks. We shall see how long that lasts here. The orientation began in a massive hall that could hold 10,000 beings. Marcus found a seat near the back, feeling very small among the crowd of aliens. The Academy's commander, a being that looked like a living mountain with glowing cracks running through its stone body, began to speak. Welcome to the Galactic Military Academy, the commander's voice boomed like thunder. You are here because your species believes you have potential. Most of you are wrong. The hall fell silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. In the next 4 years, you will be pushed beyond your limits. You will face challenges that will break your mind, your body, and your spirit. Many of you will quit. Many more will fail. Only a few will reach the final trial. Marcus saw several cadets shift nervously in their seats. The final trial is called the Crucible, the commander continued. For 300 years, It has tested the greatest military minds in the galaxy. For 300 years, not one single cadet has ever completed it. It is designed to be impossible. It is designed to teach you that some battles cannot be won. A cadet near the front, one of the crystal beings, raised a sharp arm. Commander, if no one has ever passed it, how do cadets graduate? Good question, the commander replied. You graduate by surviving it, by facing the impossible and learning when to surrender, by understanding your limits and accepting defeat with honor. The crucible breaks everyone who enters it. The strong break cleanly and learn from it. The weak shatter completely. Marcus felt a chill run down his back. Around him, other cadets were nodding as if this made perfect sense. But something about it bothered him. Why would they design a test that no one could pass? What was the point of trying if failure was guaranteed? After the orientation, Marcus was assigned to his dormitory. His roommate was a Zephyrian named HFY, a being that looked like a tall, thin human covered in silver skin and with eyes that glowed blue. When they first met, HFY stared at Marcus for a long moment. I can sense your thoughts, HFY said. They are ... chaotic. Humans think in very strange patterns. Sorry, Marcus said, not sure what else to say. Do not apologize. It is simply observation. Most species think in organized ways. Zephyrians think in perfect harmony with our people. Crystallins think in pure logic. Vorthic think in energy patterns. But you ... HFY tilted his head. You think like water flowing around rocks. Always moving, always changing direction, never stopping. That night, Marcus lay in his narrow bed and stared at the alien stars through the window. Tomorrow classes would begin. He would be competing against beings with powers he could not imagine. He would be learning from teachers who had lived for hundreds of years. And somewhere in his future waited a test that was designed to destroy everyone who took it. But instead of feeling scared, Marcus found himself feeling something else. He was excited. Humans had always been good at one thing that other species seemed to find puzzling. They were good at trying things that could not be done. They climbed mountains because they were there. They sailed across oceans not knowing what lay on the other side. They reached for the stars before they knew how to get there. Maybe that would be enough. Maybe being too stubborn to know when to quit was exactly what this place needed. Marcus smiled in the darkness and closed his eyes. Tomorrow would be interesting. Marcus woke up to the sound of alarms screaming through the dormitory. Red lights flashed on the walls, and his roommate HFY was already standing by the window, his blue eyes glowing brighter than usual. Emergency drill, HFY said without looking back. We have 30 seconds to reach the training grounds. Marcus jumped out of bed and grabbed his uniform. Around him, other cadets were moving with perfect precision. The crystallins simply teleported their clothes onto their bodies. The Vorthic shaped energy into uniforms that looked exactly like the real thing. Even HFY seemed to put on his clothes faster than should be possible. Marcus was still putting on his boots when the final alarm sounded. He ran through the corridors, following the crowd of cadets toward the training grounds. By the time he arrived, most of the other students were already in perfect formation. Instructor Veltar stood in front of them, his forearms crossed behind his back. His black diamond eyes seemed to look directly at Marcus as he stumbled into the back row. Combat simulation, Veltar announced. You will be divided into squads of 5. Each squad must capture a defended position against enemy forces. The enemy will be controlled by advanced artificial intelligence. They will not show mercy. Marcus found himself assigned to Squad 7 with HFY, a crystalline named Krex, a Vorthic called Threnody, and a being from a species he had never seen before. This last creature looked like a giant spider made of black metal, with 8 legs and glowing red sensors where eyes should be. It introduced itself as Skitter. The human will slow us down, Krek said bluntly. The crystal being's voice sounded like breaking glass. Humans have no special abilities. They cannot enhance our performance. I can think of strategies, Marcus offered. Crystallines process tactical information 1,000 times faster than organic brains, Krex replied. Your strategies will be inferior. Threnody, the energy being, flickered between different colors as it spoke. Perhaps the human can carry equipment. Basic labor seems appropriate for his capabilities. Marcus felt anger building in his chest, but he kept his mouth shut. He would show them what humans could do. The simulation began in a virtual city made of metal and glass. Their target was a building in the center, defended by robotic soldiers with energy weapons. The enemy had the high ground, better weapons, and more numbers. It seemed impossible. Zexhai immediately began coordinating the team through his telepathic abilities. Marcus could feel the edges of the mental connection, like voices talking in the next room. Krek started calculating the best routes and attack patterns. Threnody began gathering energy for a massive assault. Skitter moved ahead to scout the enemy positions, but Marcus just sat behind a broken wall and watched. Something was bothering him about the whole situation, but he could not figure out what. The first attack failed completely. Threnity's energy blast was absorbed by the enemy's shields. Krex's perfect calculations did not account for the enemy changing their positions. Zexhai's mental coordination was disrupted when Skitter was hit by enemy fire and started screaming in electronic static. Retreat, Zexhai ordered. The squad fell back to their starting position. The enemy is too well defended, Krex announced. Victory probability is less than 3%. Then we need more power, Threnody said, its colors shifting to angry. Reds and oranges. No, Marcus said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. We need to change the game. What do you mean? Zexhai asked. Marcus pointed at the enemy building. Look at what they are doing. They are sitting in that building, waiting for us to attack them. They have better weapons, better position, better numbers. If we play their game, we lose. Obviously, Krex said with metallic irritation, but there is no other game. This is military combat. No, Marcus said, standing up. This is problem solving. And humans are very good at solving problems in ways that do not make sense. He started walking toward the enemy building, not sneaking, not running, just walking down the main street in plain sight. His squad mates thought he had lost his mind. Human. Zexhai called through the mental link. You will be destroyed. But Marcus kept walking. When the enemy robot started shooting at him, he did something unexpected. He waved at them. Hello. He shouted. I want to talk. The enemy AI paused. It had been programmed to fight soldiers, not to handle someone who wanted to have a conversation. In that moment of confusion, Marcus kept walking and talking. You know, this is a really nice building, he said loudly. I bet you guys get bored just sitting in there all day. Do you ever wonder what it is like outside? The enemy AI tried to process this. It was designed to respond to military tactics, not casual conversation. While it was calculating how to handle this strange situation, Marcus had walked right up to the building entrance. I have an idea, he continued. Why do not you come outside and show me around? I am new here, and I could use a tour guide. By now, his squad mates were staring in amazement. The enemy robots were lowering their weapons, confused by programming conflicts. They were supposed to defend the building, but they had no instructions for dealing with a friendly visitor who just wanted to chat. Marcus walked right through the front door. Objective completed, the simulation announced. Squad 7 has successfully captured the target. When they exited the simulation, Instructor Veltar was waiting for them. His diamond eyes studied Marcus with new interest. Explain your tactics. Cadet Chun, Veltar said. I did not fight them, Marcus replied. I confused them. The AI was programmed to handle military attacks, not social situations. So I made it a social situation instead of a military one. Impossible, Krek said. Combat scenarios have rules. You cannot simply ignore the rules. Humans ignore rules all the time, Marcus said with a grin. It is one of our best skills. Veltar made a note on his electronic pad. Interesting. Most species try to win through superior force or better strategy. You won by changing the fundamental nature of the conflict itself. That night in the dormitory, word spread quickly about the human who had talked his way past enemy defenses. Some cadets were impressed. Others thought it was cheating. But everyone was talking about it. ZEX single quotes HA. I sat on his bed, staring at Marcus with glowing blue eyes. Your mind is even stranger than I first thought, he said finally. Most beings see a problem and try to solve it. You see a problem and try to turn it into a different problem. Is that bad? Marcus asked. I do not know, Zexai replied. But it is definitely not normal. Marcus smiled as he settled into bed. Normal was overrated anyway. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and he was starting to realize that being human in a galaxy full of superior aliens might not be as much of a disadvantage as everyone thought. Outside his window, the alien stars twinkled like distant eyes, watching and waiting to see what the strange human would do next. The morning of the Crucible arrived with an unusual silence. No alarms, no Russian cadets, no shouted orders. The academy felt like a tomb waiting for its next occupant. Marcus woke early and found the dormitory empty. His fellow cadets had already gone to their individual preparation chambers, spending their final hours before the trial in meditation, calculation, or energy gathering according to their species' customs. Marcus did something different. He went to the academy kitchen and made himself breakfast. Real breakfast with eggs and toast and coffee, foods he had not tasted in months. The kitchen staff, a group of peaceful beings who looked like walking mushrooms, watched him with curious interest. You seem calm for someone about to face the Crucible, observed the head cook, a large mushroom being named Spore. I am terrified, Marcus admitted cheerfully, taking another bite of toast. But being scared never stopped humans from doing stupid things before. At exactly noon, Marcus reported to the simulation chamber. It was a massive spherical room lined with holographic projectors and neural interface equipment. Instructor Veltar waited for him, along with the academy's senior staff and several beings Marcus did not recognize. They all watched him with the careful attention usually reserved for dangerous experiments. Are you ready, Cadet Chun? Veltar asked. No, Marcus replied honestly. But I am going to try anyway. The neural interface helmet felt cold against his skull. The world around him faded away, replaced by the bridge of a military command ship floating in space. Through the main viewing screen, Marcus could see 3 beautiful worlds spinning slowly. In the distance, green and blue planets with white clouds, full of cities and people who were counting on him to protect them. The tactical display activated, and Marcus felt his heart sink despite all his preparation. The enemy fleet was beyond massive. It filled the entire sensor screen like a swarm of angry insects, each dot representing a warship capable of destroying entire cities. 1 million ships, just as promised, approaching the 3 worlds with deadly purpose. His own fleet appeared on the display. 12 ships, old, outdated vessels with weak weapons and thin armor. The kind of ships that should have been retired decades ago. Against 1 million modern warships, they were less than useless. The communication system crackled to life. Voices from the 3 planets filled the bridge, crying for help, begging for protection, asking him to save their families and their worlds. Children's voices mixed with the desperate pleas of parents and the authoritative commands of military leaders who knew they could not defend themselves. This was the moment when every previous candidate had broken. This was when the impossible mathematics of the situation would crush the spirit of even the greatest military minds. 1 million against 12. No reinforcements. No retreat. No hope. Marcus looked at the tactical display for exactly 30 seconds. Then he started laughing. It began as a small chuckle, just like in the archive room a week ago. But this time it grew bigger, louder, until he was laughing so hard that tears ran down his face. The sound echoed through the bridge of his command ship, transmitted across all communication channels to his tiny fleet, and probably to the monitoring systems watching his every move. The voices from the planet stopped their desperate pleas, confused by the sound of laughter in the face of certain doom. His bridge crew, simulated beings created by the Academy's computers, stared at him with expressions of horror and disbelief. "Sir," his tactical officer said nervously, "the enemy fleet will reach weapons range in 2 hours. What are your orders?" Marcus wiped his eyes and looked around the bridge. These people, even though they were just computer programs, were looking at him with hope. They believed that somehow their commander would find a way to save them and their worlds. "First order," Marcus said, still grinning. "Send a message to all civilian ships in the 3 systems. Tell them to evacuate immediately, but not to the usual safe zones. Tell them to head directly toward our position." "Sir?" The tactical officer looked confused. "That will put civilian ships directly in the path of the enemy fleet." "Exactly," Marcus replied. "Second order. Send a message to the enemy fleet commander. Tell them I want to talk." "Talk, sir?" "Yes. Tell them I have a proposal that might interest them." His communications officer, a simulated Zephyrian, worked quickly at her console. "Sir, the enemy commander is responding. They say they do not negotiate with inferior forces." "Tell them that is too bad," Marcus said, settling back in his command chair like he was getting comfortable to watch a movie. "Because I am about to do something really stupid, and they might want to watch." While his officers sent the message, Marcus pulled up the technical specifications for his 12 ships. They were indeed old and weak, designed for patrol duties and small skirmishes. But they had one thing that newer ships did not have. They had cargo holds designed to carry large amounts of supplies for long-range missions. "Engineering," Marcus called out. "How long would it take to remove all the safety systems from our reactor cores?" "Sir," his chief engineer sounded shocked. "Removing reactor safeties would create a massive explosion risk. The slightest damage could cause a chain reaction that would destroy the entire ship." "How massive?" Marcus asked with interest. "Each ship would explode with the force of a small star going supernova, sir. It would be visible from 3 star systems away." "Perfect," Marcus said. "Do it to all 12 ships. And while you are at it, load all our cargo holds with the most explosive materials you can find." "Sir, this is madness," his tactical officer protested. "You are turning our ships into bombs." "I am turning our ships into fireworks," Marcus corrected. "There is a difference." The enemy fleet continued its approach, but something strange was happening. The civilian evacuation ships, instead of fleeing to safety, were moving toward Marcus's position, just as he had ordered. Thousands of small ships carrying millions of refugees formed a growing cloud around his tiny military fleet. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "the enemy commander is demanding to know why you have positioned civilians as shields." "They say this violates all rules of warfare," Marcus laughed again. "Tell them I am not trying to shield anything. Tell them I am creating the galaxy's biggest audience." "Audience, sir?" "For the show," Marcus explained, watching the tactical display as more civilian ships arrived. "See, here is what everyone who tried this simulation before me got wrong. They all thought this was a test about winning or losing. But it is not. It is a test about what you do when you know you are going to lose." He stood up and walked to the main viewing screen, looking out at the approaching enemy fleet and the growing crowd of civilian ships around his position. Most species, when they know they are going to lose, try to lose with dignity. They fight bravely until they are overwhelmed, then surrender with honor. But humans ... Marcus grinned at his bridge crew. Humans have this annoying habit of refusing to lose quietly. "I still do not understand, sir," his tactical officer said. "You will," Marcus promised. "In about 1 hour, when that enemy fleet gets here, they are going to discover something that no military academy in the galaxy teaches. They are going to learn what happens when you threaten something that a human has decided to protect." He turned back to his command chair, still smiling. "Now, let me tell you about a human military strategy called going out with a bang. I think you are going to find it very educational." Outside, the enemy fleet continued its approach, unaware that they were about to witness something unprecedented in galactic military history. Something that would be talked about for generations, assuming anyone survived to tell the story. The enemy fleet arrived exactly on schedule. 1 million warships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their weapons charged and ready to destroy anything that stood between them and the 3 populated worlds. The sight was terrifying and beautiful at the same time, like watching a storm made of metal and death. Marcus stood on his bridge, surrounded by thousands of civilian ships and his 12 modified vessels, all hanging in space like a small island in front of an ocean of enemies. His reactor cores were unstable, his cargo holds packed with explosives, and his crew was looking at him like he had completely lost his mind. "Enemy fleet is demanding our surrender," his communications officer reported. "They say they will spare the civilian ships if we surrender immediately." "Tell them no thank you," Marcus replied cheerfully. "But tell them I have a counteroffer, sir. Tell them I challenge their best commander to single combat." The bridge fell silent. Even the computer-generated crew members seemed shocked by the suggestion. "Sir," his tactical officer said slowly, "single combat between commanders is an ancient tradition that no one has used for thousands of years. And even if they accepted, their best commander would destroy you in seconds." "Probably," Marcus agreed. "But that is not the point. Send the message." Minutes passed. Then the enemy fleet commander responded, and his voice filled the bridge with cold amusement. "Human commander, you are either very brave or very stupid. I accept your challenge. Prepare to be destroyed." "Excellent," Marcus said, clapping his hands together. "But first, let me explain the rules of this particular game." He opened a channel that broadcast to every ship in the area, enemy and civilian alike. His voice carried across space to 1 million enemy vessels and thousands of civilian ships, full of refugees, ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all other classifications. Marcus announced like he was starting a show. "Welcome to the galaxy's first ever human-style military demonstration. My name is Marcus Chun, and today I am going to show you something that my species calls the no-win scenario solution." "What are you doing?" the enemy commander demanded. "I am changing the rules," Marcus replied. "See, everyone who tried this simulation before me made the same mistake. They thought this was about winning a military battle. But humans learned something a long time ago. Sometimes the most important victories happen when you refuse to fight the battle you are given." He gestured to his tactical display, showing the impossible odds surrounding them. 1 million ships against 12. No reinforcements, no retreat, certain death. Every military mind in the galaxy says this situation has only one logical outcome. But humans have never been very good at accepting logical outcomes. Marcus walked to the center of his bridge, where every camera and sensor in the area could focus on him. "So instead of trying to win an unwinnable battle, I am going to do something different. I am going to show everyone watching exactly what humans do when someone threatens people we have decided to protect." He turned to his engineering officer. "All ships, remove the final reactor safety locks. Set all explosive cargo to remote detonation. and patch me through to every civilian ship in the area." "Sir, this will destroy us all," his tactical officer protested. "No," Marcus said with a smile. "This will save everyone, trust me." The communication channel opened, connecting Marcus to millions of civilians watching from their evacuation ships and billions more on the 3 planets below. "People of the 3 worlds," Marcus said, his voice carrying to every corner of the system. "My name is Marcus Chun. I am from a planet called Earth, and I am here to tell you something important. Today, someone came to your homes with 1 million warships and told you that you were going to die. They said you were helpless. They said resistance was futile. They said you should surrender and accept your fate." His voice grew stronger, filled with something that made even the enemy fleet pause their advance. "But I want you to know something about humans. When someone tells us that people we care about are going to die, we do not calculate odds. We do not consider logical outcomes. We do not surrender to superior force. We get angry. And when humans get angry about injustice, we do things that other species think are impossible." Marcus nodded to his weapons officer. 12 small, outdated ships suddenly blazed with light as their reactor cores destabilized and their explosive cargo armed for detonation. "Enemy commander," Marcus called out. "You wanted single combat? Here are my terms. You can destroy my ships right now and win your military victory. But if you do, these 12 explosions will be visible from 100 star systems. Every species in the galaxy will know that humans were here. They will know that when 1 million ships came to murder innocent people, 12 humans said no, and they will know that we chose to burn like stars rather than let you hurt people we swore to protect." The enemy fleet hesitated. They had expected surrender or a desperate military attack. They had not expected this. "But here is the interesting part," Marcus continued, still grinning. "If you destroy us, you still have to explain to the galaxy why you needed 1 million ships to kill 12 humans defending civilians. Every species watching will ask themselves the same question. What kind of enemy needs such overwhelming force to fight people who refuse to surrender?" In the simulation monitoring room, Instructor Veltar watched with growing amazement. Other faculty members stood frozen, unable to process what they were seeing. "And if you spare us," Marcus announced to the enemy fleet, "you will have to explain why 1 human with 12 old ships made you hesitate. Either way, you have already lost the only battle that really matters." The enemy commander's voice came back, no longer cold and amused. Now it carried uncertainty. "This changes nothing. You still cannot win." "Win?" Marcus laughed, the sound echoing across space. "Commander, I already won. The moment I made you stop and think about what you were doing, I won. The moment millions of people heard someone say no to impossible odds, I won. The moment I proved that some things are worth fighting for, even when you cannot win, I won." He looked directly into the main viewer, speaking to every watching being. "This is what humans call hope. It is not logical. It does not calculate odds. It does not surrender to superior force. It simply refuses to accept that good people should suffer without someone standing up for them." The simulation suddenly froze. The holographic display flickered and died. Marcus found himself back in the spherical chamber, surrounded by stunned faculty members and monitoring equipment that was smoking from overloaded circuits. Instructor Veltar approached slowly, his diamond eyes reflecting something Marcus had never seen before. "Cadet Chun," Veltar said quietly, "in 300 years, no one has ever caused the Crucible simulation to experience a logic cascade failure." "Did I break it?" Marcus asked. "You did not break the simulation," another instructor said, stepping forward. This was Commander Graniteheart, the mountain being who led the academy. "You broke the assumption that the simulation was based on. The Crucible was designed to test how beings respond to certain defeat. But you refused to accept that defeat was certain. So did I pass or fail? Marcus asked. Commander Graniteheart was quiet for a long moment. Then something that might have been a smile appeared in the glowing cracks of his stone face. Cadet. Marcus Chun of Earth, he announced formally. You are hereby graduated from the Galactic Military Academy with the rank of Strategic Innovation Instructor. Your first assignment will be developing a new curriculum. What kind of curriculum? Human. Military philosophy, the commander replied. It appears the galaxy has much to learn about hope, determination, and the tactical applications of refusing to give up when any reasonable being would surrender. Marcus grinned. This was going to be interesting. 6 months later, Marcus stood in front of his first class of alien cadets, all of them eager to learn about this strange human approach to impossible situations. Lesson 1. He announced to the room full of crystals beings, energy creatures, telepaths, and others. Sometimes the most important question is not how do we win, but what are we willing to stand up for? Today, we are going to learn about the tactical advantage of hope. And across the galaxy, on countless worlds, the story spread of the human who laughed in the face of certain death and taught everyone watching that some battles are worth fighting regardless of the odds.